Uckfield is a town in the Wealden district of East Sussex in southeast England. The town is on the River Uck, one of the tributaries of the River Ouse, on the southern edge of the Weald. Etymology: Uckfield, first recorded in writing as Uckfield in 1220, is an Anglo-Saxon place name meaning open land of a man called Ucca. It combines an Old English personal name, Ucca, with the Old English locational term, feld, the latter denoting open country or unencumbered ground. A number of other places in the area also contain a suffix, feld, which may be an indication of land that contrasts with the surrounding woodlands of the Weald, including in particular Ashdown Forest immediately to the north. History: a comprehensive historical timeline can be found at a Vision of Britain website. The first mention in historical documents is in the late 13th century. Uckfield developed as a stopping-off point on the pilgrimage route between Canterbury, Chichester and Lewes. The settlement began to develop around the bridging point of the river, including the locally famous Pudding Cake Lane where travellers visited a public house for slices of pudding cake, and the 15th-century bridge. Cottage, the oldest house still standing in Uckfield, now a museum. The town developed in the High Street and in the New Town areas. The Eversfield family, who later became prominent in Sussex history, giving their name to the prime waterfront street of St Leonards-on-Sea, first settled in Uckfield from their Surrey beginnings. The family, who later owned the mansion Den Park in Horsham, which they represented in Parliament, acquired a large fortune through marriage, real estate acquisition and iron foundering. Their climb to wealth and prominence was a heady one. In 15th-century Sussex they were described as yeomen, but within a generation they were already among the first rank of Sussex gentry. Church Street was at the heart of the original settlement of Uckfield, near the medieval chapel, which was replaced by the present parish church in 1839. Situated on an ancient ridgeway route from the direction of Winchester in the west to Rye and Canterbury in the east, it would have seen many travellers well before 1500. Some would have been on short journeys, either on foot or on horseback, to or from local markets and fairs, but others, bound for destinations further afield, would have spent the night at local hostelries along their route such as the Maiden's Head, the King's Head or the Spread Eagle. Since Uckfield was part of the Archbishop's extensive manor of South Malling, some of these travellers could have been bound for Canterbury for business or other reasons, though others had destinations elsewhere along the route. Church Street contains a number of post-medieval buildings. These include the Old Grammar School, Baker's Cottage and the Malt House with Malt Cottage, and Church House with Andertons, Copping Hall and Milton Cottage. Notable inhabitants of these properties were the Markwicks at Copping Hall and Milton Cottage, Edward Kenwood at the Malt House, Thomas Pentecost in a cottage near the Grammar School, and General Sir George Calvert-Clark at Church House. Bridge Cottage, thought to have been built in the 15th century. Studies have shown the cottage to date back to around 1436. Between 1500 and 1900 the cottage was inhabited by a number of local families including local merchants. In October 2014 the Heritage Lottery Fund granted £1 million to enable the restoration of the cottage. Work started in October 2014, with an estimated completion date of late summer 2015. Governance: the town council consists of 15 councillors, representing 4 wards. Central Ward, New Town, North, and Ridgewood mayoral elections take place every year. The incumbent MP for Uckfield is Charles Hendry. The town currently falls within the constituency of Wealden. Charles Hendry has been the MP for Wealden since 2001. In 2013 he announced that he would not be standing in the 2015 general elections. On May 7, 2015, Nusrat Ghani was elected as the MP for Wealden with a majority of 22,967. Geography: The town of Uckfield has grown up as a road hub, and on the crossing point of the River Uck. Traffic on the A26 between Tunbridge Wells and Lewes, from the north-east to the southwest, joins with that on the A22 London, Eastbourne Road around the town on its bypass, whilst the long-distance cross-country A272 road crosses them, both north of the town. As the town has grown, new housing estates were developed. Hempstead Fields, Highlands Farm, Rocks Park, West Park, Manor Park and Ringles Cross among them. Parts of Uckfield, owing to its location on the river, have been subject to extensive flooding on a number of occasions, the earliest recorded being in 1852. More recent floods have occurred approximately every 9 years. In 1962, 1974, 1989, 1994, 2000 and 2007, although those in 2007 were not as severe as previous floods. Local residents have long been lobbying for flood defences in the town, and recently when the local Summerfield became a co-op, its car park's walls were rebuilt as flood defences with a ramp to access the car park and a watertight pedestrian gate that can be closed when flooding is imminent. It is hoped that this new wall will act as a reservoir to contain the flood water until it recedes, allowing the water to flow back into the River Uck, which runs alongside the car park. Due to the positioning of the river within Uckfield, any flooding is within the lowest part of the town centre and industrial estate, and so does not affect residential areas as these are all built on higher ground. The Hempstead Meadows Nature Reserve can be accessed from the car park and shows classic meadows formed on the floodplain. The West Park Nature Reserve contains a wide variety of habitats. It is located on the western edge of the town. Nature Reserve's West Park. West Park is a local nature reserve. It has several access points and a boardwalk which runs through parts of the reserve. The reserve is a vestige of ancient parkland, containing herb-rich uncultivated wet meadow, woodland, some thriving wildlife and the remains of Mesolithic settlement. Hempstead Meadows. Hempstead Meadows is also a local nature reserve. The River Uck runs through the floodplain, also occupied by the Hempstead Nature Reserve, and is an important area of wetland. The area has an abundance of unusual flora and fauna, which flourish on this ideal site. A new footpath, the River Walk, is a recent introduction to this area. Harlan's Pond. Harlan's Pond, located via Mallard Drive, home of the common toad. Regular visitors include the heron, in addition to its permanent residents, the coot and moorhen. Nightingale Wood. Almost adjacent to the pond is Nightingale Wood. This is a cool, shady haven, containing many different tree species and is a valuable site for early purple orchids. Millennium Green. To the south of the town in Ridgewood, the Uckfield Millennium Green is present on a site of disused clay pits development. East Sussex County Council completed Phase 1 of the Uckfield Town Centre Highway Improvement Scheme in November 2014. The scheme will involve the creation of 10,000 square metres of retail space within the town. It also limits to 1,000 the number of new homes to be built between now and 2027. In September 2015, the lead member for Transport and Environment at East Sussex County Council approved the scheme as proposed by the project board in August 2015. The redevelopment will recommence in January 2016. In June 2015, the Ridgewood Farm development was granted outline planning approval. The development will see 1,000 new homes, of which a minimum of 15% will be affordable housing. The development will include a two-form primary school, a large employment space, community, health and leisure facilities and pedestrian and cycle paths. The development will also include a 73-acre suitable alternative natural green space nearby. In July 2015, Network Rail announced plans to upgrade the train platform at Uckfield Railway Station to accommodate trains with up to 12 carriages. The works are predicted to last from November 2015 until March 2016. Demography. The population of Uckfield in 1811 was 916, in 1841 was 1,534, in 1861 was 1,740, in 1871 was 2,041, in 1881 was 2,146, in 1891 was 2,497, in 1901 was 2,895, in 1911 was 3,344, in 1921 was 3,385, and in 1931 was 3,555. In 2001 it was 13,697. Transport. Uckfield is connected to London Bridge Station by Southern Rail services on its Oxted line via East Croydon. Until 1969 the rail link continued to Lewes. After it was closed, Uckfield became the terminus. The station building was rebuilt in 1991 to avoid the necessity of a level crossing. The Wealdon Line campaign hopes to reopen the closed section to Lewes. There are 20 local bus services in the Uckfield area: Brighton and Hove, Countryliner, Renown Coaches and Stagecoach in Eastbourne all serve Uckfield. Also National Express coaches operate to London. Education. Uckfield Community Technology College is the secondary school in the town. There are 5 primary schools. There is Harlands Primary School, Holy Cross CE Primary School, Rocks Park Primary School, St. Philip's Catholic Primary School, and Manor Primary School. Churches and chapels. The Church of England Parish Church is dedicated to the Holy Cross. The Queen made several unannounced low-profile visits to this church. The Roman Catholic Church is dedicated to Our Lady Immaculate and St. Philip Neri. Other churches and chapels include Baptist, Methodist, Evangelical, United Reformed Church and the King's Church. Local villages and parishes also have their own sites of worship. There are no non-Christian religious houses. Notable people. Emily French was born in Uckfield in 1836. Uckfield was the last place Lord Lucan was seen. At Grant's Hill House, the home of his friends Ian and Susan Maxwell Scott. Lady Lucan, his wife, was also in Uckfield. Nicholas Van Hoogstraten, a property developer, owns property in the area. He is engaged in a long-running dispute with the Ramblers Association about a local footpath running through his land. Van Hoogstraten is currently building a mansion, Hamilton Palace, on the outskirts of Uckfield. Folklore. There are a number of mysteries and myths associated with the town and surrounding areas. The most well-known is the disappearance of Lord Lucan, who was reportedly last seen at Grant's Hill House in Uckfield. In addition, the hoax of the Piltdown Man occurred in the nearby village of Piltdown. There is also the tale of Nantuck's ghost, in which an old witch is said to have lived in a wood in nearby Buxted. There is an area of the wood where nothing grows, and the ghost is said to chase people who wander along Nantuck's Lane at night. Culture. Uckfield is twinned with the town of Quickborn, Germany, and also with Arcueil-la-Bataille, France. Uckfield FM is a community radio station that supported Uckfield for its 4-week festival in June and at Christmas each year. In July 2009 the station was granted a license by Ofcom to become a full-time community radio station, broadcasting live to the community of Uckfield and the surrounding areas full-time from the 1st of July 2010. The station was founded by Mike Skinner, Paddy Rye, Gary King and Alan French and now has over 80 members who are all voluntary. In the summer of 2008, ITV's Trini and Susanna was filmed at the Bird and Eye Studios when Mare Louise Eastwood was the star of the show. In 2014 the station was granted a 5-year extension to its license. This will take Uckfield FM's service through until 2020. Uckfield Festival. The festival was originally intended as a one-off Millennium Year celebration. From this event it has sought to advance the public in the arts and in particular, the arts of music, speech, drama and the visual arts. a number of local organisations. Events have grown from the festival. Some of these include the Art Trail, the Film Society and Uckfield FM. Uckfield Carnival. Uckfield hold an annual Torchlight Carnival on the first Saturday in September. The high street is closed in the evening and local bonfire societies, sports teams, schools and businesses join a procession through the town. Sport and leisure. Uckfield has two non-league football clubs, AFC Uckfield, who play at the Oaks on Old Eastbourne Road, and Uckfield Town FC, who play at Victoria Recreation Ground.